I wanted to try and build Yellowstone National Park's iconic geothermal geysers in Minecraft, and this is what I came up with. In this video, I'll show you some tips on how to build something similar by breaking it down into three main parts: color, details, and glasswork. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. It's my first time doing glasswork like this, and I'm really satisfied with the results. The first thing to consider was the very distinctive gradient. When looking at photos of Yellowstone National Park, it was really clear. It went from yellow to orange to brown, and then an area of white past that, which I didn't include because I wanted the trees to be closer. But these three colors of concrete powder worked really well for the gradient. And then I also mixed in some red sand for more variety. So that's the general color, which was super distinctive in the main point of the build. Past that, you can change the color of the water if you have world edit using this command. If not, you just have to use the water in whatever area you're building in. Or you can build over top of a warm ocean, which is this color. You have to do a lot of terraforming, but that's another way to get it. Once the pools are in place, the next step is detailing. I started with these black rocks all over the place, made with smooth basalt and cobbled deep slate. These are really easy to add in. Usually just did one or two pieces of the basalt and then a couple of smaller pieces of deep slate around it, and then they can be complemented by these black stone buttons that kind of look like smaller stones around the larger piles of rocks. Another thing I did was a trick under the water with the campfires by placing campfire underneath of the magma block or any other block. The smoke can still travel through, and it looks like there's some underground activity going on here. Might not necessarily be the most realistic to have right in parts of the water smoking, but I really like the effect. I added in dry grass as well, because I figured it would be about the only plant that could grow in this area. I guess you could also use the classic dead bush, or maybe even the dead coral. Another reason to add in the red sand is because the plants can only be placed on there, they can't be placed on the concrete powder. Although I guess that isn't true for the dead coral, so maybe that's an advantage of using this instead, and it can be placed underwater. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I think I'll stick with the dry grass, but it's something to consider for sure. And then lastly, I already had a forest on that side over there, and I brought it across here to kind of make it an enclosed and nice cozy feeling. As part of that, I also changed the grass from default grass to a mixture of moss and various types of dirt, which really helped transition from the brown concrete powder. It worked out really nicely. And then our last area of detail is just changing the height here. So this wouldn't happen in real life at all, but this one pond is a block lower than the other three. And I think when looking for the path, it adds a nice variety here, how it goes up and down. Maybe not the most realistic, but having the blocks go up on either side makes it look like it's a really enclosed pond, which is why I separated them like that. So playing around with that is also a great idea. And then lastly here, and most difficultly, we have the geysers. I hadn't really ever done much glasswork before trying this one, and the first time I tried, I hated it and then logged off. But I came back, tried again, and it actually turned out really well, and I was super happy with it. So I built a smaller one over there. Obviously, it's very unlikely that two geysers would be going off at the same time, but it's Minecraft. So I'm going to try and build a third one here, and we'll see how it goes. I'll probably get rid of it after because I just wanted to, but we'll start somewhere in the middle of this one maybe. That looks pretty central. Turn off the sound there. Alright, now let's see which direction. I kind of had it going up here and then curving that way with the wind. So I'll start with a similar shape. I'm going to replace almost all of this full block glass with panes in a minute, but I get the rough shape with that. Maybe let's make it like that high. And let's try and work around this a little bit. So at the bottom, it's thinner, and then once it gets to the top, it will branch out quite a bit, as you can see up there. But down the base, yeah, usually just a couple panes I was doing. So let's try something similar, and then maybe let's have a floating pane off the side here. I think I potentially like having a full block there. Probably not here though. I think I might go like something like that. And then maybe one hanging off there. Maybe those full blocks are good as well. Honestly, a lot of this is just putting down one block or one pane and then stepping back and seeing how it looks. Yeah, this one's got too much curve in it, so I think I'm going to take off that side at least. Maybe go like that. And then definitely need something down here. Maybe I'll make it come out like this shape and then get rid of that one. It's got a little bit better shape. I think we could also do maybe like that. Yeah. And I think it's looking a little empty. I may add a single lonely pane on this side. Act as the spray. And I'm gonna go up here a little bit. Probably get rid of that one. Maybe add that sort of shape. And this one's gonna come back up that side. It's a lot of trial and error. I'll play around with this a little bit more and see how good I can get it to look. That's not terrible. That's not terrible. I think we need more of the floating ones now. Oops. These are so tedious. Go like that, maybe. Maybe a little too far away. Maybe like, no, can't do that. Something like that. Yeah, it's a pretty good height. Maybe stop it like there. And I hope this is a little bit helpful. I'm kind of just placing glass, but mostly just doing guessing here, and hopefully it'll look okay. It's honestly not bad as it is. It doesn't have quite the curve as the other ones, probably because this one's sticking out way too far. Maybe stop it there, and then on the back side, we'll do a similar shape. Yeah, it's not bad. Need some more floating ones, but I think this is coming together. It's a lot faster than the first two times I did this. Okay. Go like that. Add a bunch of floaters. And maybe something like this. And get a couple more higher. Something like that. Single there. Let's see how that's looking. I don't quite like that area, but it's not bad. It's not bad. I would have liked that if it was my first attempt. I think we'll just get rid of that one, honestly. That might have been enough. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah. So that's how I made it. You can see it's almost entirely glass panes. There's, I think, one full block there, another one there, and then 4, 5, 6, which is more than I had in the other two. But yeah, I think I could still add some more of these single panes around here or something like that. But like I said, it's a lot of going back and forth, putting down one block, seeing if you like it or not, either keeping it or deleting it, and then adding another one, going back and forth, back and forth. They're really time consuming, especially the first couple times, but they just look absolutely incredible. The last thing to consider I just wanted to mention was sight lines. So I have this path coming out of the forest, and I wanted to make sure you could see the geyser when you're walking down here. So I made sure that these two trees, this one and this one, were just far enough apart so when you're walking over the bridge you can start to see it come through. And I just absolutely love this effect. It makes you want to run to see what's up, and of course when you round this corner then you get the payoff and you understand what's happening. I think that curiosity is exactly how kids feel when they're at Disneyland and they see something cool and they want to run towards it. So being able to recreate that was really great. And then coming from this direction, similar thing, you get the background there as well. And this nice beautiful geyser and a little bench here. So these two areas I really thought about when I was placing the geysers as well as the rest of the ponds, to make sure that when traveling along the path you get a really good view coming in both directions. Obviously this one you have a nice background one, the big geyser here in full effect. And this one sort of more just piques your interest. It makes you want to run towards it to see what was happening. And then when you get to the top, then you get a little payoff here. Here's the last look at the build. Like I said, I'm very pleased with the results of this one. I think it fits into my world really well. Hopefully even better once I fill in the areas behind it. I hope it inspires you. Leave a like if you liked, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.